What's up, guys? Cat Daddy Crypto here. You know what I need you to do. Hit that subscribe button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Stay up to date with news around Kaspa and Kaspa's ecosystem as a whole, as well as the rest of the crypto market. Subscribe and like this video. Let's get it. What's up, guys? Today, I want to kind of go over this Bitcoin spiral clock and how it can potentially give us a look into the future of when Bitcoin is going to top this cycle. Okay? Basically, what this chart here is saying, right? It's visually kind of hard to read, and we're not going to go into too much detail about it, but basically this cuts everything into 4 quarters and then into 4-year increments, okay? And if we take a look at the orange dots on the screen here, the halving lines up on the same exact line every single 4 years, right? And then there's midterm peaks, and then there is the top peak, right, in green, which is the peak that we are all waiting for, okay? Now, I want to kind of not pay attention to 2011 and 2013 because Bitcoin was very, very small and new, and it was kind of doing things a little more ADHD than it does right now as a bigger asset with a bigger market cap. So I want to focus on these last 2 cycles, the 2017 and the 2021 cycle, okay? And on this purple line here, both of these tops hit this line perfectly, right? We got our parabolic blow-off top when Bitcoin topped right on this purple line. They're both touching, okay? And the amount of blocks in between all of these sections are roughly the same, okay? So we can kind of predict things based on windows of blocks being mined in Bitcoin, okay? Now, the interesting thing about this is that this is estimating. On this purple line, in 2025, the year that we're in right now, that we're going to hit this purple line once Bitcoin has mined 918.75 thousand blocks, okay? So what I wanted to do is take a look at this number right here and project out at 918.75K blocks. Once we get to that point, where does that put us as far as real live date that we can look at where we can kind of predict based on the last 2 cycles that Bitcoin's going to peak right around that time frame, okay? So if we come over here, we are going to put this number 918.75, and down here we're going to leave it the same because it's 1 block every 10 minutes, and we're going to estimate the date here. And what that brings us to is October 14th of 2025 is when this calculator is telling us we're going to hit that purple line, when we're going to hit 918,750th block mined for Bitcoin. And in the last 2 cycles, the last 8 years, right, Bitcoin is topped right in that time frame where it hits that block. Now, it could fluctuate slightly before, slightly after, depending on the hash rate going up and down and fluctuating, but it's estimating that that block will be mined on October 14th, 2025, and it's not far-fetched to estimate that Bitcoin tops out around that time, okay? And that is in line, technically, with the time period of previous cycles topping, right? Last cycle was in November 2021, and the peak before that was roughly in December. Bitcoin topped out in December of 2017. Altcoins ran into January of 2018, but in 2021, if we take a look at this purple line here is the altcoin chart, and the red and green candles down here is the Bitcoin chart. So in 2021, altcoin and Bitcoins topped out almost identically on the same exact day. The altcoin market as a whole, right? Some altcoins topped out earlier, some topped out late, but as a whole, the total two, which is the whole entire market minus Bitcoin, topped out on November 15th, 2021, the same exact day roughly that Bitcoin topped out. If we come over here to 2017, we can look and see that Bitcoin topped out on December 11th, 2017, whereas altcoins as a whole topped out January 8th, 2018. Okay? So we have two slightly different scenarios where altcoins may or may not top out at the same time as Bitcoin, but it's probably going to be roughly a month after, if it's not right at the same time, where we see the altcoins top out. Okay? So this is the time frame that we're potentially looking at to see a top to this market. So maybe this cycle, Bitcoin tops out in October and altcoins run into November, and that's it. Or this is going to change, potentially over time in the next 6 months if the hash rate fluctuates up and down, and maybe we see it delayed, right? And Bitcoin tops out in November or December, and altcoins top out in December or January, right? But any way we slice it and look at it, we're looking at October 2025 and January of 2026 is when the absolutely crazy window should happen. Okay? So that is what we are potentially looking forward to at this point in time. And again, I want to stress to everybody to stay on your toes just in case there's any curveballs. Monetary policy will hopefully be in a more soft state by this point in time, and we can see the altcoin season that we have all wanted for quite a while now actually happen when it's all said and done. And I think that it's going to, right, every cycle, this type of thing happens where Bitcoin makes its run and altcoins kind of lag behind, and everybody's going to, everybody and their mom is saying that maybe we're not going to have an altcoin season this cycle. Maybe Bitcoin is just going to run and no altcoins are going to run. And then every cycle, the same exact thing happens roughly around the same exact time every 4 years. And then we start all over again and do it all over again for another 4 years. It always seems to play itself out roughly how it did in previous cycles, right? And we'll see the top probably roughly around the same time between October and December is what I would project. So, and this is literally projecting it based on blocks. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. I want everybody to keep their hopes up because it's just a matter of time. I know it doesn't feel like we're going anywhere right now, but when it's all said and done, we're going to look back and be like, wow, that was amazing. So in the meantime, guys, continue to pack your damn bags before it's too late. I will see you in the next video. Peace out.